Okay, welcome to Florida Trail Riders. This is the Mondon Hill, which is apparently the most popularist of all the FTRs. This is my first race back since October last year. If you look on the left hand side, you will see a very fancy and new master cylinder for the brakes. So we're still learning on that. Seekers went over the quad and handed it to me. It's in the best shape it's ever been because Seekers does amazing work. KMK off-road. Anyway, so FTR does this thing where they make you raise your hands off the bars from a dead start. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. The guys cheat. Not that I care because this is a local. It's just dumb. I don't know. So right here, this is me gingerly figuring out my suspension because my suspension is still relatively new. And by the time I wake the fuck up, it's too late, and I've already kind of lost the race. So don't expect anything special out of this race other than seeing the course layout. The guy in front of me is a guy named Loudermilk, and his family's really nice to me, always been really nice to me, so I didn't want to pull him or try to get out of his way. Plus, I'm still, figuring out the quad stuff. But some guys were calling FTR Florida hate scrambles, and it was a beautiful day out. And after I got yelled at in the parking lot by the staff, and then yelled at the trailer by the staff, and then yelled at on the starting line by the staff, and then yelled at for no reason about something. It was actually a really good race. I think one thing that we need to talk about here with racing, and I'm guilty of this when I used to drag race, is when you start to hate something, stop doing it. Give it a break. Have someone else who's enthusiastic do it, because no one's really going to ruin my good time with quad racing. People have tried in the past with their kids' bullshit and their, some of the politics that go along with racing, which is in every series, and you're never going to escape it. But when you start to dislike what you're doing, just please take a rest. No one says that you gotta quit. Just give her a little rest. Take some time off, because yelling at your constituents or your customers isn't cool. Let me give you an example of what it took to come to an FTR race just for me. Okay, I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That means I have to drive to Pittsburgh in order to get my quad, because that's where Seegers is. That costs me money. Not only does it cost me money, it costs me time, and I have to get my baby mama to watch my kids while I do all this, and luckily she's willing to do that. Okay, so that's at least 150 in diesel, if not more, 200 something in diesel to go get my quad. Then I pay Seegers to work on my quad because I have a job and children and a social life and racing. And if trying to fit all of that in that is a cost. The cost of the quad itself. Then I got to drive from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania down to Florida, of which, if anybody's ever done that before, it's a long ride. It's like 14 hours. Oh, by the way, in order for me to race your series, I either have to drag behind a toy hauler, of which is an additional sponsor cost for the year, or I rent an Airbnb, something like that. Oh, also, yay me, and somewhere in here I catch the actual guys who left me behind, which is pretty impressive considering most of those dudes are fast as fuck. And A-Class riders, I only rode behind the A-Class guys for like about a minute. I mean, I know that's an eternity in racing, but anyway, yay me. Yeah, so then I have to rent a house, and then after I rent the house, I have to get the fees for your series. I have to drive to your series, I have to get up early, I have to prep my bike, I have to prep all my gear, I have to buy my gear. So it's a big cost for me to get to your track and for you to be an asshole to me for no reason. You know, if I say, hey, I don't usually race your series, and then you tell me I can't race that day, that's not cool because of some silly rule. You know, even if I can't qualify as a official rider in your series, and this is not aimed at FTR before anyone gets, you know, starts contacting people from them. This is a bunch of series. Then just let me ride in Trail Rider, or just let me ride with my class so I can like pace myself. Because going to locals for people who race GNCC is practice. I don't really care really anymore about anything because I'm in B class, and if I move to A class, that's the end of my racing career because I'll never go pro or anything like that. Plus, I'm chubby and 45 years old. I don't care anymore. This is for fun. If I come to your series and you give me a hard time about nothing, that's not cool. You should have a smile on your face because your job that day is hanging out with people that are generally in a good mood, except for the parents, of course, and you know, race moms, race dads, and you're in the woods in the sunshine with you know little machines that go vroom vroom. It's you know, if you're 70 something years old and you've been doing this for 30 fucking years, I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. In my own career field, my own job is starting to get on my nerves. I get it. But with that said, yeah, you know, I don't know. Maybe talk to your doctor about a you know, a chemical solution to make you happier. Or I've heard that there are numerous options when it comes to prostitution in Florida. Maybe you go hit one it up, but you know, have toothless Cassie give you, you know, a smile on your face before you come to the track. Whatever the case may be, get some Krispy Kreme. I don't know. But you know, people are giving up football for the weekend and stuff like that. So I don't know. If anybody listens to this, maybe think about being a little bit cooler. We make mistakes. We're not used to your series. We don't need to be yelled at. Anyway, Florida. So as you can see, it's black dirt, and it's rough. It's quasi rough. This course was super cool. The riders at FTR are super cool. So anyway, so this part right here, like my first lap. Well, let's be honest, I don't take any laps fast, but first lap I generally take on the slower side to not only reserve my energy, because after my paralysis I don't have the same stamina I used to, that getting old. I usually take it pretty gingerly on the first lap because I'm afraid of getting hurt. Let's see. However, I saw a dude get his leg cut off last year on a 4x4, so I'm especially fucking ginger now because I like having both of my legs. So this, like, right here was neat because you can like sling the rear of the quad around. I highly, if you have the money and you have the ability to travel around like I do and to race around in these places, I can't encourage it enough, because it really, like, situations like this where you don't really, it's not GNCC, there's no pressure on you, you're just kind of hanging out, you can try some stuff that generally you wouldn't try with in like a regular race. It makes a difference. I learned some stuff. You know, I've been doing this for 5 years or so now, 6 years. I think this is my 6th season, and I'm still learning stuff all the time. I hate this corner right here. This corner sucked. It got worse and worse throughout the day. You get to learn a little bit about your quad each time you do one of these locals. You know, especially about suspension, how good the tire is in certain conditions or whatever. But also like on you know, like this sand and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I like sand anyway, but it's a lot of fun. So if you have the ability to ride outside of other states, like if you're fully committed to a season, you know, before you give up quad racing, instead of doing a whole season with one series, try and pick out some of the best races from the series all over the country, and then, you know, like, see if you have the, you know, if you have the money, obviously, to go out and try, you know, different places, because, you know, I would never really know, like, some of the things that I know with my quad if it wasn't for going into the sand. But on this course they cut a bunch of the track out for some reason. I'm not really sure why. There was like a motocross track, which I could care less about, and then but the track was on the smaller side. I think I did 4 laps. Some dude slams into me and crashes pretty hard. I think it's on the next lap. I don't know if it's this lap or next lap. It's after I go through scoring. He comes through it's like an uphill, and I don't think he even saw me. Like I was around the bend, and he kind of jumped through the brush. By the way, if you're a sport quad racer and you think that you're gonna win a bashing contest, like if you're gonna slam your sport quad against 4x4 and win, you are incorrect. I've seen it numerous times since even my first year, where guys, not intentional, I'm not saying even intentional, but just, it's best to like try to not clip 4x4s. There's a whole bunch of math that goes into it, but basically, you know, mass times acceleration, stuff like that, it ain't gonna end up good for you. So this is the only part right here where it had some like nasty whoops, and then as the day went on, you got to see like there would be bumpers and batteries and shit right here, and fenders. It's crazy to me that people say that like 4x4s are expensive. Like, I've replaced one thing on this, not this quad right here, I've replaced 0 on. The quad I had before, it was the 850, the yellow one. I replaced the steering knuckle, and I think that's, like, literally that's it. I can tell you one thing, FTR riders do yield. It's nice. It's not like other series where you gotta, like, fight to get around the guy that's, you know, not in your class. So, see, that's legit right there. Anyway, what else? So the terrain, it wasn't tight. It's, you know, it's Florida. There was no real hills. Again, it's Florida. I think the highest point of Florida, as far as elevation is concerned, is like 600 feet. It was nice. Like this, I think the weather was in the 70s. It got a little chilly at night, but and I was stationed in Pensacola for about a year, and then a place called Coyote. Dude, like, what's that about? Like, why don't you just cut that out? You know. Anyway, so I was stationed at a place called Coyote Station. That's in the Panhandle, and then I lived in Orlando for a little bit. While I was losing my mind dating this chick, so. But the course was laid out really well. You know, when you watch this, after I edit these, and sometimes when I watch them, I'm like, I could have been faster through here, faster through. The course was pretty quick. I mean, if you're looking at my speedometer, I'm doing 25, 30 mile an hour in the woods. The course went away, like all sand courses. The course went away after a while. The one thing that if I do have one complaint, like one legitimate complaint, like about FTR, is that the quads race way too late in the day. They need to figure that out to where you can, because I'm a little bit more sensitive to this than other people. I'm not really sure why, but you see how that sun is coming down like onto the horizon? You can't really see shit in the woods if you like, because what happens is the glare hits your goggles, and then once it hits your goggles, it kind of blinds you. It doesn't matter even if you have like the welding goggles on, or fancy ass fucking colors that I see some guys with. By the way, that right lane was way faster. Anyway, you can't, like, I don't know, there's like, it doesn't show up on the camera because the camera's aperture will open and close, but I guarantee you what you're seeing with the camera versus what I was seeing on the quad was much different. You couldn't really see too much in regards of what was going on inside the woods. So that and you don't want to really hammer through the whoops when you're like, man, I can't really see. Because here's the other thing too about sand races, and I've experienced this at Camp Coker quite a bit, is in the beginning of the race, if the track goes really close to a tree, the first 1 or 2 laps you'll be okay, and then the 3rd or 4th lap, the rut will come down against the tree, and then the tree will have a big ass root that will end your day. It'll either spin your handlebars to one side or the other, or it'll just break the quad. So those are things that I look for while I'm riding. I might be slow, but you gotta give me credit. I mean, I do tend to like not really fuck my shit up too bad, but I mean, I've had some crashes here and there, but not as bad as some of the guys. I mean, like some of the dudes in my, in B class and A class, like they fucking they're ripping wheels off every race. But other than, I mean, so I want to give a shout out to the course, the people who did the course. Now, if you're noticing, if you're going to come to one of these races, the FTR races, and you're going to spectate, I don't think they let you into the woods. There was no people inside the woods that weren't like workers, which kind of is a blessing and a curse, because you can only really pit at one place, and then the problem with pitting in the same place is if there's a bottleneck, that it's just, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. I know auto racing does it, and it's cool for auto racing. But for us, like, being able to pick out a spot that no one else has, and you're able to pull over, you know exactly where it's at, versus coming into a pit lane, you're searching for your people and stuff. It's not, people. Also, things get stolen in the pits, I've noticed. Sorry, I'm scratching my balls. Like your gas can will disappear, things like that. But the last thing that was kind of odd about this series was there's no flagger. So when you go through, and I'm about to go through in a second, there's really, like, I don't, like, how many more laps do I have? So is this where the dude hits me? It happens. Like, so you have to see all that right there where I just went. That's the pits. You have to pit right there. There he is. Yeah, the guy hit me right there. Hold on, I gotta try and slow this down. Let me see. Hold on. Ah, fuck. Yeah, so I flagged the one lady. I mean, I don't think he was hurt or anything like that, but it's the second lap. So they were, the people were warning me about this section right here, and they're right. So you kind of come out of here, and they call this like coming up right here. It's after this right hand side. Sorry for the dead air. So anyway, they're like, there's this one part they call it Daytona, and all right, it's right here. So on the right hand side, coming up is there's a lake, and I guess it's like a problem every year for the kids to go flying into the lake. I mean, I'm glad no one's ever gotten hurt, but there was one year while, dude, I was at Ironman, and there's this one section that goes underneath like this overpass, and it's all rocks. It's like it's flat out, and then you have to kind of like make kind of a right hand turn, and it's rocks, right? This guy goes, I don't know where my camera was. I don't know if I caught it on camera, but this dude just goes flying right into the creek. It was crazy. It was crazy. So I can imagine some kid doing, even faster and not being able to make that turn. So, not much else happens in this. I left it all in. I'm leaving the whole race in case anybody is that bored. But not too much happens. I think I come in mid-pack. I'm not really sure where I came in at. I should have, woulda, shoulda, coulda. I should have tried to keep up with the pack more, but I was worried about that master cylinder not working if I got aggressive. And keep in mind I was on a mini vacation too, so I don't want to eat shit on a mini vacation and then have to drag a broken quad home, or even a broken knee home. So but no excuses there. I also ended up like a little bit above mid-pack in regards of my overall. So I'm getting quite a bit faster. And it's mostly due to Seegers getting my quad the way I want it. I'll be honest with you. It has really nothing else to do with just, seat time and that. So anyway, enjoy the rest of it. Thank you everyone who watches these. Thank you for everyone who's like, hey man, keep doing the fucking voiceovers. We love it. Well, there you go. I did a voiceover, so yeah. FTR is cool, just, staff's a little rude, so prepare for it. There's other series where the staff's cool and the racers are assholes, so, take that for what it's worth. Or just go and race New East Coast, who has easily the best series I've ever raced for. So, anyway, everyone stay safe. I'll see you in a couple weeks on here if you care. Talk to you later.